Welcome back to For the Record. Well, it feels like each week more and more candidates enter the race to become Wisconsin's next governor, and this week is no different. But after months of speculation, Republican Congressman Tom Tiffany put the rumors to rest. On Tuesday, he officially announced his candidacy.
I'm Tom Tiffany, and I'm running for governor because I love our state. I see where we are headed, and I know we can do better.
Now, a little background on Congressman Tiffany. He represents the 7th Congressional District in northern Wisconsin. He won a special election in 2020 after the resignation of Sean Duffy, who is now the Transportation Secretary. Now, Tiffany won that race by 14 points and has won re-election by more than 20 points in each of his 3 re-elections. In his campaign video, he listed priorities as protecting Wisconsin farmers, freezing property taxes, and keeping transgender students out of girls' sports. Here's what he told me during our conversation earlier this week. How do you plan to make those priorities into things we could actually see in Wisconsin?
Well, I think they're really common sense values, like boys not being in girls' sports or in girls' bathrooms. That's just common sense, and most Wisconsinites agree with that. We will implement that. And just the whole woke nonsense that we have seen that has taken over some states, it ends day one.
Now, Tiffany is also seen as a Trump loyalist, over the summer voting in favor of passing the president's spending and tax cuts. According to the Wisconsin Department of Health Services, more than 270,000 Wisconsinites will lose their health insurance because of it. What do you say to those Wisconsinites right now? 270,000
Wisconsinites are not going to lose that unless they're here illegally, or else they're working able-bodied, or the people that are able-bodied that should be working. Anyone that this program that was designed for, whether it's someone with a disability, pregnant moms, seniors that qualify for the program, they will not lose their coverage.
But I've talked to folks who can't work right now and are here legally who are at risk of losing their coverage. Folks like that, are there solutions? Are there ways that they can stay on coverage, or is this kind of a lost game for them?
If the program was set up for them and they qualify, then they should receive that coverage.
Now, Tiffany also continued to defend President Trump's tariffs plans.
We have lost so much manufacturing here over the last 30 years. I think about the paper mills and other businesses that have went out and moved overseas. It is time to defend manufacturing and bring it back to Wisconsin.
Now, Tiffany told me he's running his campaign for the general election with what he's calling a 72-county strategy. That includes Dane County, which he argues Republicans have ignored for too long. But Tiffany has his eye on one specific block of voters.
A group of people that I think are really going to turn out here in the future for Republicans, especially in light of the assassination of Charlie Kirk, is you're seeing a real movement on college campuses of young people who are saying, who really gravitated to that message of faith and family and conservatism.
Now, Tiffany estimates he will need about $30 to $40 million to keep up with Democrat spending. You can hear how he plans to raise that and the congressman's thoughts on abortion in our full interview up right now on channel3000.com. And during a press availability earlier this week, fellow Congressman Mark Pocan also reacting to the announcement, saying he's eager to talk about Tiffany's voting record.
I think he would be a great nominee for the Republican Party. And I'd love to see the conversations we'll have about health care and food assistance and education funding coming out of what he voted for with the big ugly law. So I might send him $1 or $2.
However, Tiffany winning the endorsement of fellow Republican Congressman Tony Weed, writing in a statement, quote, "I can say with confidence that Tiffany is an America First leader who stands for law and order, believes in fiscal responsibility, and will never stop pushing against radical far-left policies. Wisconsin is in desperate need of strong leadership, and I firmly believe that Tom Tiffany is the right choice to lead our state." But it's not only Tiffany getting into the race this week. The Democratic field continuing to widen as former Wisconsin Representative Brett Hulsey entered the race.
I'm a Democratic candidate, announcing today a Democratic candidacy for governor of the state of Wisconsin. I've got a lot of my background here. I've been in public service since I was 19 years old.
Hulsey was previously a member of the Wisconsin State Assembly from 2011 to 2015 and served on the Dane County Board for 14 years. Now, speaking outside the Beacon Shelter in Madison on Wednesday, he focused on issues like homelessness, the environment, and school funding.
The people should not be homeless and Hungary in the richest nation in the history of the world. That is just wrong. When I was up there in the legislature, I fought against the cuts of the radical extremists to cut our schools. We have schools doing referenda after referendum for operating expenses, not to build nice new schools, but just to keep the lights on. That is wrong. I don't pretend to have all the answers, but I know I can fix it.
Hulsey also opposed then-Governor Scott Walker's Act 10 when in the Assembly. He ran for governor 8 years, but lost in the primary to Mary Burke.
But I got 52,000 votes. I didn't spend much of my own money, and this time I'm more serious. My plan is to have a crew of homeless people canvassing.
But Hulsey is also followed by controversy. When in the Assembly, he was cited for disorderly conduct over, quote, horseplay and photographing a 9-year-old boy at a city beach. Also during that time, he was known for pulling stunts that angered his own party, including threatening to bring a musket onto the Assembly floor to call attention to GOP policies that he opposed, like legalizing carry concealed weapons. And in 2013, one of his legislative staffers told police she feared for her safety because he brought a box cutter to the office. Hulsey is also jumping into an already packed Democratic primary, as this is the first time in about 16 years the race has been open with no incumbent running. He joins Lieutenant Governor Sarah Rodriguez, Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley, Madison State Senator Kelda Roys, Madison Representative Francesca Hong, and beer vendor Ryan Sternad. Then on the other side of the ticket is obviously Congressman Tom Tiffany, but also Washington County Executive Josh Schoeman wasn't on that list. Milwaukee businessman Bill Berrien dropped out of the race Friday after finding himself in the center of a scandal this week. The CEO, a conservative supporter of family values, followed several sexually explicit accounts online, including a non-binary pornography performer. Since the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel first reported on his online activity, Berrien unfollowed several of the accounts and called the reporting a, quote, garbage political hit. Now, in a press release, he wrote, quote, the media cherry-picked a handful of individuals and handwritten articles that came across my feed, what I thought I followed without the faintest clue as to the author's lifestyle choices 6 or 7 years ago, and painted a salacious and sensational picture that was clearly targeted to force me out of this governor race. One-on-one with Middleton's mayor as she launches her bid for re-election.